This is Maria Jertha.
And this is H. Groenleer.
And together we are...
#Consort Counsellors! You may be familiar with the American talk show Jimmy Kimmel Live. We watch it sometimes, and there's one specific segment which we find particularly fascinating. Celebrities read mean tweets.
I'm all right with the president wearing jeans. I'm not all right with the president wearing those jeans.
Inspired by this idea, we decided to look at mean tweets about the recorder. And we found a lot of them.
At Is This Angles writes, if you think anything other than the recorder is the worst instrument ever, you're lying.
We've had a good laugh reading mean tweets about the recorder. And we have realized that it is possible to take some inspiration out of some of them.
And therefore, today we would like to present to you 5 tips and exercises inspired by mean tweets.
At so-called script shop writes, my next door neighbor got a recorder and is trying to play Happy Birthday by ear. The notes for to you have been eluding him for about 5 minutes. I may murder him.
Well, it's true that playing by ear is a skill that requires some practice. But the good news is we are constantly singing by ear since we are kids. And that is how we can sing Happy Birthday, although we may not be able to read it. And we also hear if our neighbor is playing the right notes or not. Here are a couple of short exercises to develop playing by ear on the recorder.
This is an exercise for a group, and the larger the group, the more fun. One player chooses any 2 notes he likes to play and plays them. The person next to him or her sings these notes. Special prize if he or she can sing a song that starts with the same interval. Of course, you can also try this exercise alone. Also, try the opposite. Sing 2 notes that you like, and then your neighbor can play the notes, and he or she gets an extra prize if she can play a melody that starts with the same interval.
Then there is the very simple exercise called the train. We make a row, so we also just see the back of the person in front of us. The person in the back plays a short series of notes. If this is the first time you do the exercise, maybe just 2 notes is enough. If you are very advanced, you can add more and more notes. All the players will repeat it one by one, but they cannot see the fingers of the player, so they have to do it by ear. Depending on your level and your experience, you can also agree on some more helpful tips. For example, we are going to start on the note C, or we are only going to use notes that are part of the C major scale. If you are very advanced, you may give yourselves total freedom. It's your choice. At T. Simon writes, Splendid! My son's got a recorder. It's surprisingly hard to make it sound anything other than awful.
Actually, we couldn't agree more, because it's really hard to make the recorder sound beautiful over the whole range. One reason for this is that the recorder doesn't have an embouchure or a reed to regulate how much air goes into the instrument. The instrument reacts immediately to any changes in air pressure or airstream.
Very easily we go too far and the sound becomes forced, or we don't go far enough and it sounds weak and poor. To find your very best recorder sound, it is a good idea to explore the boundaries between the awful and the beautiful.
One by one, play a note in the middle register, for example the C. Start from absolutely nothing and then increase the air pressure as slowly as you can. At first the sound will be awful and weak. At some point it will sound beautiful, and then when you go too far, it sounds forced and again awful.
Now try the same again, a little faster, so that you have time once you've reached the awful, really forced sound to come back to the middle, to your most beautiful sound, and stay there as long as possible. Can you remember now how it felt when you played the most beautiful sound? Can you hear it in your mind? Let's now try to just hit it right from the first moment.
These exercises we just did you can do alone, but you can also do them together. Player number 1 of your ensemble starts again with a very low air pressure until he or she reaches the nice core of the C. If that is a nice sound, then the next player does the same. So we also develop a little ear for tuning and mixing.
Another exercise that can be helpful to find the center, beautiful center of the sound as an ensemble, is that you play a piece, you start playing very soft, you gradually grow to a very forced and ugly sound, and then together you come to the middle and find the place where you really like to stay for the rest of the piece.
Exercises prove that sounding awful is the way to sounding beautiful, and practice makes perfect. You and your neighbors just need a little bit of patience. Leanne Mullen writes, "To whoever is repeatedly playing scales on a recorder in my building, I deeply appreciate your energy and spirit, but you really could have better timing."
Indeed, scales and arpeggios are the instrumentalist's daily bread, and it's true that they are possibly not the most entertaining music for your neighbors. We've all heard it's a good idea to practice scales, applying regular rhythmical patterns. But we know a way to practice your scales that may be more fun than this. We apply the rhythm of a song we know to our F major scale.
When we were teenagers, this song was just out.
Rayleigh writes, "The neighbor has been playing the recorder for the last 2 hours, so I am currently praying for death."
2 hours of practice is a long time. How can you ever survive? However, if you want to become a professional musician or a very keen amateur, you of course need to practice a lot.
On the other hand, it's true that very long practice sessions without a clear goal maybe don't take us very far and may feel frustrating. Therefore, here is a quick and tiny guide to efficient practice.
It is always better to have short and regular practice sessions than sporadic, very long ones.
Include a little warm-up in your practice routine, but make sure that this warm-up is varied enough so that it never becomes boring.
Set 2 or 3 goals for the rehearsal and make sure you divide the time well so that you can spend enough time on all of them.
Take notes. You would be surprised how many things we think we're gonna remember and then we don't.
Combine detailed practice, for example, focusing on a very short and difficult passage, with performance practice, playing the whole piece through.
Remember that practicing is not only playing, looking at your score, analyzing, listening to recordings, reading about the context. All you do helps your performance.
If you feel stuck, lose your concentration or feel frustration coming up, stop. Have a little break, change your activity and come back later.
If your practice involves looping the same passage over and over again, leave enough time in between repeats to think and realize what can you improve next time. Your neighbors will be grateful.
Veronica Q writes, if there's music in hell, I'm pretty sure it's all from a recorder.
See you there, Veronica! Probably behind this statement there is some trauma with the recorder in school combined with ignorance of what this instrument is actually capable of producing.
If there's any inspiration to be taken from this tweet, it is that there's always something left to learn. So we would like to encourage you to learn something new about a recorder every day so that we stay as open-minded as we can.
Check out some different kinds of contemporary music.
Some improvisation.
Maybe some folk music.
Extended techniques.
Beatboxing.
Historical performance and research. New models of recorders.
Listen to it, but also maybe try it out yourself if you have never done so.
Get out your comfort zone!
Out!
There is a lot of positive recorder content on Twitter, of course. In the video description, we have collected a few Twitter accounts for recorder players.
And as usual, we would love to get your suggestions as well for accounts that we can follow of recorder players, recorder-related, music-related accounts with nice information. Leave them in the comments.
And you can follow us too, of course. Bye-bye!
See you next week!
If you like our stuff,
don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss any video of the Consort Counsellors.